Hello and welcome to another historic video. Today we're gonna have some fun in the play queue, drawing a ton of cards with our Glimpse of Nature, which was recently added as one of the mystical archives in Secrets of Strixhaven. A 1-mana sorcery, saying whenever we cast a creature spell this turn, draw a card. We've seen this effect stapled onto creatures like Beast Whisper, which we're also playing in this deck, but of course at 1 mana, the Glimpse can potentially let us combo off a lot sooner. Historically, Glimpse of Nature has been paired with 1-mana elves, like Nettle Sentinel and Heritage Druid, which we could then keep untapping while casting more elves to be able to combo off from there. We do not have those 1-mana elves on Arena, but we did recently get Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, which says we can activate abilities of creatures we control as though those creatures had haste. So we can immediately tap our mana elves for mana the same turn we cast them, which means if we now cast a Glimpse of Nature, we can play a bunch of our 1-mana elves, immediately tap them for mana to play more of them, drawing more cards in the process, so we can string a bunch of these together, also playing Noble Hierarch since we ran out of other 1-mana elves. And then especially if we pair Shang-Chi with creatures that can tap for more than 1 mana, we can now start going up the chain and casting more and more expensive spells. The Priest of Titania makes a green for every elf on the battlefield, so great in our deck, but also tracks opposing elves for what it's worth. And then we also have Rofellos, which is why we're playing 15 forests in our mana base, as it makes a green for every forest we control. And then we also have the Circle of Dreams Druid, which taps for a green for every creature we control, since we also have some non-elves throughout, like Shang-Chi, Noble Hierarch. And then another important one is the Wirewood Symbiote, which lets us return an elf we control back to our hand in order to untap target creature. So we can now potentially use the Symbiote to cheaply untap something like a Priest of Titania or Circle of Dreams Druid, which can in turn make a lot more mana, so we can potentially keep stringing together more spells. And by picking up a creature, we have another creature we can now also cast to trigger our Glimpse of Nature or Beast Whisper. And then to make sure we find all the missing combo pieces, like Shang-Chi, we can also use Green Sun's Zenith, which can also eventually find our finisher, Craterhoof Behemoth. I can hear some groans in the audience. If you don't want to play Craterhoof Behemoth, you can easily replace it with Tyvar, which you can then activate a few times to pump the team. You're maybe just going to lack Trample. You could also play Finale of Devastation, and then for X equals 10 or more, you can also give your entire team haste. Again, lacking the Trample, but they all have their advantages and disadvantages. And then the mana base is just 15 forests for Rofellos. If you expect a lot of control decks with counter spells, you could also consider one Allosaurus Shepherd to make your green spells uncounterable, or you could consider some number of Cavern of Souls in the mana base. We do want a relatively low land count, because if we're comboing off with our Glimpse of Nature or Beast Whisper, we don't want to be drawing into too many land pockets. We would much rather draw more creatures, especially if we have Shang-Chi on the battlefield to let those creatures tap for mana right away. Now, I did try this deck on the ranked ladder. It did not go very well, so I would not recommend this for ranked, but we'll be playing this in the play queue, which is where I would recommend playing this archetype. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the draw. Our hand's keepable. An early Priest into Beast Whisper can maybe take over. Although a turn 1 swamp, opponent seems to have a Fatal Push. So we can expect more interaction. Red-black. Try the Priest. And how is that going to get answered? With a Bitter Triumph, opponent taking 3, so at least they're not setting up their graveyard to reanimate anything. So Rakdos midrange could be Jund. And just red-black. And a go blank. So discard 2 cards. I think I want to keep the Beast Whisper still. At least 1. So maybe something like this. Yeah, if I can get a Beast Whisper to stick around, we can maybe take over, but it's not looking good. At least we keep drawing Priest of Titania. And another Fatal Push, so our opponent's drawn 3 already. So there's only one left. Arena of Glory, so I wouldn't be shocked if they're playing Kroxa, which can make us discard, and they can maybe escape it with haste as their win condition. Now a Dreadbore at sorcery speed. I also need to have some creatures left to actually benefit from the Beast Whisper. Uh-oh, opponent's using the arena for a hasty Barrogoyf. So that's how they're gonna find more threats. Finds another Barrogoyf, and Crucius, but is happy with a Barrogoyf. I mean, Barrogoyf is certainly beatable if we manage to combo off. And this is the first turn where we get to untap with one of our creatures. Another Mystic is nice. And a Green Suns could maybe get a Wirewood Symbiote next turn, or another Beast Whisper. Yeah, I'll take the hit from Barrogoyf. There is an argument for chumping, so they can find Kroxa to make me discard the Green Suns. Yeah, you know what? And there's Barrogoyf number 2. And another Beast Whisper to draw. Okay, so then I'm liking Beast Whisper, with a plan of Green Suns getting Wirewood Symbiote. Although now Shang-Chi is also quite tempting. So yeah, I can play the Circle of Dreams, but then I would only have 2 mana left, so I would have to get Shang-Chi first. But then I guess I wouldn't be able to play the Circle of Dreams afterwards. So maybe Wirewood Symbiote is still the play, in which case I can play this first. And I believe I haven't played a land yet, so now I can still get Shang-Chi. But since I wouldn't be drawing anymore, there's no real benefit. So then I may as well get the Wirewood Symbiote, which will help me untap the Circle of Dreams to make more mana, while picking up Elvish Mystic. So we get to keep drawing. And love seeing a bunch of creatures here. So at this point we want either Shang-Chi or another Wirewood Symbiote. Or a Green Suns. There's a Symbiote. And yeah, opponent scoops it up, so despite a boatload of early removal, as soon as we got one Beast Whisper to stick, it still managed to take over the game. Sweet, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have what looks like a keepable hand. We've got Shang-Chi, Glimpse, and then creatures that can tap for more than 1 mana potentially. Although they draw double Noble Hierarch and none of our actual elves. Opponent on an energy deck. Alright, I think Priest still has the highest upside. Can hope our opponent plays an elf, because that also contributes, but not counting on it. So it's more of a life gain deck, it seems. Okay, so could play the Circle of Dreams Druid, could even go for Beast Whisper. There's no way... Well, I guess I can go Circle of Dreams into Shang-Chi, since the Priest will tap for 2. Yeah, we can maybe take it from there. So then now I could still cast the Beast Whisper, or I could Glimpse into Noble, and hope to find more mana elves. And Circle of Dreams is perfect, since that can now still tap for 6 mana. Play Beast Whisper first. Another Glimpse is probably overkill. Because if I play the Elves, I could still maybe draw a Priest of Titania or a Rofellos, which can make a bit of mana. Can play Replacement Shang-Chi. Could also hold it for next turn, so we can go off with Glimpse again. Yeah, that's maybe better, to make sure I don't fizzle out. Oh, that wasn't a bad turn. Opponent is at 27, could maybe matter if they have certain creatures that need to meet a threshold. And they are playing green for Collected Company, no doubt. And a Scurry Oak. Alright, so they actually have the Scurry Oak plus Heliod's infinite combo. So I do need to make sure I win the game here, otherwise our opponent goes infinite. So better not fail. I get 2 replacement draw steps. And as long as we keep hitting creatures, we're good. Alright, so yeah, once we get Craterhoof, I'm not too worried about having enough creatures to attack with. Another Glimpse I can cast. So maybe tap 1 Circle of Dreams now. And yeah, I doubt we're fizzling from here. Can go for another Beast Whisper. Symbiote can also untap a creature that doesn't have Summoning Sickness, so I can also attack with it. And we should be getting close to a Green Sun Zenith. And there's a Symbiote. Alright, I mean the Green Suns are hiding. Still nothing. Play Priest. 18 cards remaining. Alright, there's a Green Suns. And the Craterhoof as well, so we'll just be casting the Craterhoof now. So I want to tap this for mana, since it can't attack. Use the Symbiote to untap some of my creatures that can actually attack. Can also use Symbiote to pick up Beast Whisper if we were worried about drawing too many cards. And then I'm pretty sure this will do it. Alright, sweet. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We've got a promising hand. Just missing another Mana Elf, perhaps. But can always Green Suns for one of them. Opponent blue-red. Could be a Phoenix deck, could be a Reanimator still. So Shang-Chi doesn't do much right now. I don't hate Green Suns for either Rofellos or Priest of Titania. And then Priest might have slightly more upside. Alright, opponent seems to have removal, so they did not Lightning Axe the Mystic, but they went for the Priest since they wanted to discard Arden. That was the real goal, is to get this in the graveyard. Alright, it's gonna be tough. Opponent maybe still missing the Reanimation spell or the right colors, since they're typically black. So now Rofellos is an option. Could once again Green Suns for Priest. Yeah, I don't hate it. This one they might Izzet Charm. Or they could just Izzet Charm the priest. Yep. But yeah, all our creatures would have died to it. Alright, I guess we run it back, nothing has changed. Opponent probably has another Izzet Charm. This time they're gonna gaze to find their black mana. Although luckily Arden doesn't necessarily win the game on the spot. So it is still beatable. And there's a black mana. And there's a Necromancy. So our opponent gets Arden, reanimate my priest. But we finally get to untap with it. Okay, so step 1, play Rofellos. Priest taps for 3, so I actually want to start with a Glimpse. Then play an Elf to power up Priest of Titania. And then play Shang-Chi. And then these Elves pay for themselves. So I don't actually hate another Glimpse, because it's going to be tricky to cast a Beast Whisper this turn. Wirewood Symbiote would be an awesome draw to untap the Priest of Titania. And wow, opponent scoops it up, maybe a little bit premature, since there is still a fail rate here. But yeah, drawing 2 cards per creature. The odds of fizzling aren't incredibly high, because we just need to find another Priest, Rofellos, or Circle of Dreams Druid perhaps, if we've got the mana for it. And then from there it should be trivial to take over. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play with a bit of a strange hand. Double Elves and then triple Glimpse of Nature. Yeah, I mean, this could work out. Can use 1 Glimpse maybe on turn 2 just to cantrip. Ideally find another 1-drop. Opponent on red aggro with Percussionist. So it could be the Gleeful Demolition Bushwhacker deck. Yeah, I could double Glimpse to double cantrip. But the upside of drawing a 1-drop here is pretty high. Another Glimpse. Well, I guess I regret not casting another Glimpse now. So now I just need any creature. Can maybe double Glimpse. Galvanic Blast takes out one of our Elves. So now double Glimpse is not quite as exciting, since if we draw into our more expensive cards we won't be able to cast them. Beast Whisper's decent now. Alright, so I'll take any cheap creatures off the top. A 2/3 also blocks surprisingly well. Unless they have a Chain Lightning, they can maybe still take it out for 1 mana. Or with Metalcraft enabled, the Galvanic Blast can also now work. Yeah, I'll block. I guess there's the risk of our opponent having like a 2 damage burn spell. But they probably only have Galvanic Blast and Chain Lightning. And they found another Percussionist. And now Kuldotha Rebirth, make 3 1/1s. Okay, how many Glimpses do I want to cast? At least 1. Yeah, if I double Glimpse, I guess land plus 2-drop could still work. And of course 1-drops are welcome. Alright, Noble Hierarch is exciting. So, cannot quite Green Suns for Shang-Chi. But I can cast Noble Hierarch. And now another one. There's Shang-Chi. So yeah, next turn we should be able to easily combo all the way. no attacks. But yeah, Bushwhacker's still gonna hurt. Might have to chump with at least 1 or 2 creatures. Opponent Chain Lightning's the Beast Whisper. No longer needed here. Have another Glimpse in hand, plus another Beast Whisper. And another Kuldotha Rebirth. So our opponent's going very wide, attacking for 8 here. Yeah, I'll take it. I don't think our opponent's getting another turn. So let's see, do I start with a Glimpse? I can go Glimpse, Shang-Chi, Circle of Dreams, take it from there. And then it's just a matter of making enough mana for a lethal Craterhoof. Since we already have the Green Suns in hand. Rofellos also generates a ton of extra mana. Can use Symbiote to untap the Circle of Dreams. So untap Circle, pick up Lanner Elves. And yeah, I think we can already go for it. X equals 8. Alright, sweet. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We've got a promising hand. We've got mana, and then the card draw. So then a second land can really kick things off. But I can still play Priest in the meantime. Do I still prefer Priest or Rofellos facing blue-white? Yeah, maybe go for Rofellos here. Opponent with a Mind Stone. And there's a Glimpse. So if I go for Glimpse into Shang-Chi, I can still play the Priest. So we could make something happen. And Green Suns may be interested in getting Wirewood Symbiotes. Another Elf is nice. Play the Elvish Mystic, and then I could still Green Suns for 1. Another Rofellos pays for itself. And another Priest is excellent. Okay, so that taps for 5, 6. So then I could play a Beast Whisper, see what we draw of Glimpse, and then still Zenith for Symbiote. Still hadn't played a land either. Could also just get another Priest of Titania, to be honest. Might be better. Although, nah, I think I prefer Symbiote, since it actually untaps a Priest while giving us more card draw, since I can pick up an Elf that I get to recast. And that Elf could be another Priest of Titania. So this has more upside. So, play another Beast Whisper into Priest of Titania. So yeah, we're going off on turn 3 here. Can play Noble into Priest of Titania. Rofellos now generates 1 extra mana. And we found a Circle of Dreams as well in the meantime. So yeah, we're not fizzling out anymore from here. Can make a ton of mana. Can maybe cast another Glimpse. But I don't think we'll really need it. And then right now I only have Craterhoof attacking, so I would prefer to get another Wirewood Symbiote to untap a creature that can then attack. So let's see. Yeah, I guess we've replaced Rofellos a few times. I think the Llanowar Elves is the only creature that doesn't have Summoning Sickness anymore. And then now I can Green Suns for 8, get Craterhoof. And that should do it. Although, never mind, I guess we just drew the Craterhoof. So, yeah, that should still be more than enough. And don't need to worry about Force of Negation when casting a creature spell. Alright, sweet. Turn 3 kill. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw. Our hand is promising. Missing maybe a creature that taps for more than 1 mana, like a Priest of Titania. Opponent with Spikefield Hazard, so it could be Ruby Storm or some sort of Charbelcher combo deck. So either way, a fast combo deck, potentially with some interaction. And yeah, it's looking like Charbelcher. So I could be dead next turn if our opponent goes Ironcrag Feet into Charbelcher Activate. Nothing I can do about it. So just gonna play the Priest, and then next turn, what would my sequencing look like? Might involve the Symbiote. If we can get Shang-Chi down, that would be nice. Shang-Chi plus Circle of Dreams can maybe kick things off. Untapped lands. Do they have the Ironcrag Feet? They do. Do they have the Charbelcher? They do. Alright, GG's. That's the nut draw with early acceleration into Ironcrag plus Charbelcher. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a promising hand. May need a second land to really kick things off, facing another green deck. Usually don't mind playing against other ramp decks, since our deck can usually go over the top a little faster, but we'll see. It's gonna be Polukranos, so more of a devotion deck. Okay, so this turn Rofellos has a little bit more upside if I draw Forest next turn, so let's start there. Could also maybe go Glimpse into Noble and then still maybe draw Forest, so Rofellos can tap for 2. Then play Shang-Chi, then the Noble can tap for mana, and take it from there. Alright, Bristly Bill. Snow-covered forests could indicate that they're playing Blizzard Brawl, so they could have some removal. Another Halfling, that's fine. Take 5. So no land yet, but I think we stick to the plan I mentioned. And Glimpse. I mean, I guess I could still just play Shang-Chi in the hopes of drawing a land, but this seems to have a little bit more upside. Llanowar Elves I can still play. And there's a forest, so our lands didn't really come out in the right sequence. But now we're in a pretty good position to combo next turn. So let's see, can I play Shang-Chi? Green Suns for maybe the Circle of Dreams. And yeah, I can even kick things off with a Glimpse. Opponent now with a Nissa in the meantime. So yeah, we can't give them another turn, because bad things will happen. Can still take an attack here, hoping there's no removal. Take 8. And a second main Shepherd. Alright, drawing the Circle of Dreams helps. So let's see, Glimpse into Shang-Chi, into Circle of Dreams, and then we're off to the races. We'll have to tap Rofellos. Play Noble. And then I may want to Green Suns for a Wirewood Symbiote at some point to untap the Circle of Dreams. Can do that now. So untap Circle of Dreams, pick up a Liner Elves is fine, although Rofellos actually nuts me mana here. So replay Rofellos. And yeah, we already have the Green Suns in hand, so it's just a matter of getting a few more creatures on the battlefield. So I can once again Green Suns for Wirewood Symbiote. And then first tap Rofellos, untap Circle, pick up Rofellos, cast Rofellos, maybe I can Green Suns for another Beast Whisperer just to make sure we can't possibly fizzle out. And then the Green Suns can get Craterhoof. Since it does shuffle itself back into the deck, there's no real danger of running out. Play Priest. And we might already have enough. Now I only have a small handful of attackers, so I do need to make sure this gets them dead. Can always get another Wirewood Symbiote to untap a creature that can actually attack here. So like Liner Elves, pick up Priest. And then now with two creatures that attack, we should have more than enough. Although I could untap one more if I really wanted to. So untap Noble. And then Green Suns for 8. And that should be more than enough. Alright, sweet. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw. This hand is lacking a card draw engine, but this could be the type of hand that just casts a Craterhoof Behemoth on turn 3 or 4 and wins the game anyway. So I'll try it. Facing the Artifact deck. Actually not a terrible matchup since they're light on interaction, and we should be able to go over the top a little faster. This hand does not care about Esper Sentinel. And then, at this point, Priest of Titania is as good as Circle of Dreams Druid. So I could go Priest plus Mystic. And then turn 3, I guess Rofellos plus Circle of Dreams. Could still maybe draw a Glimpse, but yeah, if we cast Craterhoof with 6 creatures on the battlefield, I would need to be able to attack with at least 4 of them. Alright, Gravedigger's Cage is gonna shut down Green Sun Zenith. But a Beast Whisperer was a great draw. So we'll play the Beast Whisperer before tapping Priest of Titania. And then play the Circle of Dreams Druid. And play Rofellos. And then next turn we could keep drawing, since we're not under any pressure. But we might already have lethal, as our opponent plays a Thought Monitor. Our opponent's certainly packing a lot of hate for all the Reanimator decks. And yeah, there are quite a few decks that can set up something pretty broken on turn 2 with Life Death, or with the one that returns a non-legendary creatures. So I can't blame them. Fragment Reality, a combo with Gravedigger's Cage, that's rough. And now Glimpse, that still works. So, let's see, does Craterhoof just win the game? We would get to attack with 5 creatures, all getting +6/+6. Yeah, that should be enough. So we'll keep it simple. And that'll do it. Awesome. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play with a functional hand. Need to get Priest or maybe Circle of Dreams in play, and then we could have a good Glimpse turn. Second land would be appreciated. But then again, having too many lands is detrimental when you're trying to go off with a Glimpse. Cacophony Scamp is also quite scary. So if I play Circle of Dreams, our opponent can at the very least take it out with a Scamp if they sacrifice it. That being said, I guess it's equivalent to playing a Priest of Titania right now, and it's a bit more mana efficient. But yeah, we could be dead on turn 2 if our opponent's on the Berserk archetype. Doesn't look like it. Alright, Groundswell, I guess plus Berserk would still do it. Yep, alright, GG's. Another turn 2 kill brought to you by Historic. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We've got a keepable hand. Bit of mana acceleration into a Beast Whisperer. Well, let's see what our opponent's up to. A tapped Raphine's Tower. That's ominous. Could go Symbiote plus Rofellos to use Symbiote to protect Rofellos in a way. But Circle of Dreams maybe has a little bit more upside if it survives. So next turn I could already consider deploying the Beast Whisperer. Making sure not to tap Circle of Dreams yet. So then I can go Symbiote. At the very least, untap the Circle of Dreams Druid again. Picking up Rofellos. Just missing Shang-Chi here to truly combo off. Alright, that was my last chance of drawing one. I guess I could have still drawn another Symbiote, which is why playing the 1-drop over Rofellos still made sense. Because he has Symbiote and tapping Circle of Dreams, and then we can maybe just cast a Craterhoof. So still not a bad turn, assuming no board wipe. Although I can now once again use a Symbiote in the opponent's turn. Oath of Kaya, going for Circle of Dreams. So we can just pick that back up. Okay, so step 1 could start with Rofellos. I do not have a elf in play that can tap for mana to really benefit from Wirewood Symbiote too much. So the hope is still to draw Shang-Chi here. Symbiote helps a little bit. So I can return an elf, untapping an elf. And then replay it. There's Shang-Chi, but I'm a mana short of casting it now. So I guess another symbiote it is. But then next turn we're in great shape. So I can once again untap an elf, returning an elf. And attack. If our opponent does have a board wipe, we have a reasonable hand to recover, especially with 2 more symbiote activations. And yeah, extinction events, so odd or even. We have a decent mix. I imagine they go for... well, I'm actually not sure. Either way, activate symbiote. I don't mind leaving a Whisper in play, maybe picking up Priest of Titania. Yeah, they have to go for odd here. So then I maybe pick up a 1-drop. Or a Circle of Dreams, but we already have Priest of Titania. We'll see. Opponent goes for odd, so we get to keep our fellows and Beast Whisper. And now with Shang-Chi, it should be a breeze to keep going off. Green Suns can get another Wirewood Symbiote. But yeah, we can play a couple more Elves out. Already have the Crater Hoof in hand. And we'll have at least 2 creatures that can attack. So maybe get a Wirewood Symbiote here. So I can untap 1 more, just in case. Although, which creature can attack here is a question. I guess Raphellos got replaced. So I may not have anything else, actually, that can attack. Alright, in that case, can just do this. Make a bunch more mana, and then Crater Hoof should be game over. Alright, sweet. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have a promising hand. Turn 1, Elf sets up turn 2, Circle of Dreams Druid. And then Beast Whisper as our card draw engine. And then Shang-Chi is going to be one of our priorities. Our opponent on a red deck. And a Percussionist. Alright, so another aggro deck here. Could get the Symbiote in play before Circle of Dreams. If they had a burn spell, they probably burned the Elf, however. So maybe I can get away with playing the Druid first. Synthesizer makes sense. And take 1. And then the Epicure is next. Okay, so want to get this Beast Whisper in play, and then with the Symbiote afterwards, I can still untap the Circle of Dreams. That's why we wanted to start with the Llanowar Elves instead of a Noble Hierarch. Raphellos is nice too. Still missing Shang-Chi. So can tap this for 4. Could go for another Beast Whisper, or we can get more mana established with Raphellos. And then if I get lucky, I draw Shang-Chi and still combo from here. Okay, Symbiote is another untap of Circle of Dreams. So that makes more mana, and there's Shang-Chi. So I don't think we're fizzling out anymore. Untap, return. So, let's see. Play another elf first. Tap for 6, play Shang-Chi. Now we can tap Rofellos. So I can go another Beast Whisperer into even a Glimpse if I'd like. Play Circle of Dreams. And yeah, opponent knows that they're dead. Awesome, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a promising hand. Got Shang-Chi and Glimpse, so just need some of our elves that can make more than 1 mana, like a Rofellos. Start with a Noble perhaps, in case they have removal. Doesn't look like it. Do have to watch out for sweepers, of course. Opponent's being pretty passive so far. Maybe we go Wirewood plus Rofellos, so that if they try and remove Rofellos, I can at least pick it up with a Symbiote. And if they don't, we're in a pretty good spot to maybe combo off with Glimpse next turn. A Lively Dirge, okay. So what are we searching for? Is this a Reanimator deck? It is, Galta. So next turn they can presumably bring it back. So let's see if we can combo off before they do. So step 1, probably Glimpse into Shang-Chi. Could also play Beast Whisperer into Shang-Chi and then untap Rofellos. Also have to make sure I have an elf in play as well. So I guess I can go Beast Whisper into Elvish Mystic and then untap Rofellos and then play Shang-Chi. So we maximize our card draw. Another Glimpse. Yeah, I think I can afford to. So then play the Mystic. Green Suns can maybe get another Wirewood Symbiote to untap Rofellos. So untap this, return this. Make 3, play Shang-Chi. Yeah, I don't think we're fizzling out, because Symbiote can untap Rofellos, which casts Circle of Dreams Druid, and then we're off to the races. Can play the Mystic first, since it can now immediately tap for mana. So yeah, this shows the importance of Wirewood Symbiote, and then these elves that can make more than 2 mana. We already have the Green Suns in hand. Wirewood Symbiote can attack, so yeah, can play Circle of Dreams, maybe Priest, and then we can certainly Green Suns to get Craterhoof. So yeah, we got to see this Glimpse Elves deck in action, and it is a deck certainly capable of winning on turn 3 already with a good draw, and it can still play a reasonable value game with all the card draw engines and the Wirewood Symbiote picking up your creatures, so it can potentially outgrind some controlling decks as well. But of course there are some other combo decks in the format that with their best draw can already win on turn 2, as we were able to see in some of the games. Decks like the Berserk combo, some of the Ruby Storm decks can theoretically win on turn 2 already. Same with Charbelcher combo decks, if they have a Treasure Token on turn 1, into Pyretic Ritual on turn 2, into Ironcrag Feat, into Charbelcher. Again, all these draws are pretty unlikely, but still theoretically possible, so there's still an indication of the speed of the format. So if there's a bunch of turn 2 combo decks out there, it feels pretty bad to play a turn 3 combo deck, especially when this deck relies so much on creatures, which are a lot easier to interact with for opposing strategies compared to some of those other combo strategies that mostly rely on non-creature spells. And then we haven't even mentioned all the Reanimator decks, which, while they don't technically win the game on turn 2, can still bring back some devastating creature, and in the case of something like Iona naming green, we're also not going to be able to beat it, so that's essentially a turn 2 win as well against our deck. So all that being said, I don't think I would recommend this for the ranked ladder at the moment, but if you have a quest that needs you to cast a lot of green spells, this is perfect for it. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's gameplay. I want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.